Hello, and welcome to FxWB New Beginnings podcast with Michelle. How are you doing this week?
I'm doing great, Michelle. How are you?
I'm doing well. Hi,
Good.
everyone listening in, looking in. We here at Functional Wellbeing, we are going to have a chat here this afternoon with a new friend of mine, and will be a new friend of yours when we're done here.
Yes.
As we talk and chat a bit about business, but the origins of a business and learning about our story, how it can transform what our lives look like in the present, which was a future before, but in the present, what our lives have gone through, it can create changes for us and propel us in different ways and different walks of life that we may not have even been thinking about. So, thank you so much, everyone, for listening in, for checking out all the different stories that I've been sharing here on FxWB New Beginnings podcast with Michelle. We are all about well being and learning how to enhance our well being in many different forms. You know, I talk about health all the time. That's my biggest thing. I talk about enhancing your well being through health. And I look at the 4 P's of health, which are functional movement, functional nutrition, learning about your mindset, building your mindset, and being in a community of like minded persons to win the goals that you are looking for. But there are many other ways to enhance your well being. And here on FxWB New Beginnings podcast, we try to do that through talking with others who can share their stories, their passion, and how they enhance their well being through the things that they do. For example, finding or cultivating your purpose. That's a big deal. Learning what your purpose is and what your values are, and how you can help others by cultivating your purpose. We also look at relationships. We try to understand close relationships, how that has impacted our well-being. Community, that's a big one for us as well. Learning how to work along with others in a community, people that you may not even know, but learn how to work along with each other to sustain a viable, healthy community. Environment, big deal. If our environment is negative, it's going to impact us. So we have to understand where we fall in that whole scope of things, learning about our environment and learning how we can enhance our well-being through having the environment that we desire. Finances, big deal. And I always, at some point, we talk about it and learning how to have financial well being and learning about financial lessons and educating ourselves on how we can enhance our finances and enhance ourselves. Learning how to rely on our maker. Big security. He's our security in life. We learn from our maker how we can enhance our spiritual well-being, to be able to work along with others, do things that we want to achieve. So that is another aspect of well-being that we like to touch on. You have the opportunity to do so in these different areas by learning from others. When you learn from others, you can now teach your own self or practice things to experience that way of enhancing your well-being. So that's what we are all about at FxWB New Beginnings podcast. And today we have a beautiful young lady who's going to share her story and her passion with us. Welcome to FxWB New Beginnings podcast, Latrica.
Yes.
I got it. Yay. Hi, Latrica.
Hello,
Welcome.
Michelle.
Thank you so much for being on here with me this day. We here at FxWB would like to know Who is Latrica?
I am, first off, a mom. I'm a mom of four children, two beautiful granddaughters, 2 and 1. I'm so excited to have them. Um, I am also a new widow. It's been 5 years. 2018 was the year that I lost my husband.
I'm sorry
Um,
to hear that.
thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
And I am all things Latrica. To describe me and put it all in one, it would just take all day. But I am just walking in my truth and being my authentic self, and whatever that is led, whatever that looks like for me, I'm walking in it.
Wonderful. Well, I can feel that spirit right now. And thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for being open and
Yes.
honest and true to who you are. So, when you said you're a recent widow, and that is probably one of the most painstaking things that may have occurred in your life, or one of them, because we all have so many different things that could occur throughout our life cycle. Um, Tell me, what was your current situation when you lost your husband? What were you doing? What was your passion back then, and what is it you're doing now? So give us like a story, a backstory of where you are, how you got to where you are today.
I'm so glad you asked that, because I had to look down. I had to really think, because I want to be honest. Um, when I lost my husband, the day before my husband passed, my daughter was graduating high school. Um, and I can still hear the knock on the door, as you and I are talking. And to take myself back to that day, it's so many different memories that come to my mind. Um, and then through the memories of the hurt, I also see the growth. And I'm so grateful for the growth, because I've worked so hard to get here. And to go back there is almost, it's still very painful. It's very hard to think about. And like I said, I can still hear the knock at the door, as if somebody wake me up. Is it over yet? Is this a dream? And I'm preparing for us to go to my daughter, which was his stepdaughter, graduation the next day, not knowing that this was going to happen.
Right.
And I kept thinking the next morning, how am I going to go to my daughter's graduation? And my husband just passed. I just literally got the knock at the door at midnight. She's graduating tomorrow at 7 p.m., walking across the stage. And I remember being so numb. I remember thinking to myself, am I in a twilight zone? Is this really happening? Maybe, I could just pinch myself, or maybe this is all a lie, you know. And that's what I kept telling the police when they came to the house. He was killed in a car accident. And I just remember the knock at the door. And I remember, like I said, just thinking that I'm going to wake up in a second. It would be a dream.
Right.
And putting my clothes on to go to my daughter's graduation, I kept saying, I can't do this. But something kept saying, you have to,
Right.
because you cannot get this moment back either.
Right.
And I pressed through. But thinking about it now, Michelle, I don't know how I did.
Mm.
I don't.
Well, guess what? I don't think you needed to.
Right.
You just needed to do what you were led to do,
Absolutely.
so that you could get through it.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. So with with all this going on, how did you get through it? Being 2024, how did you get through it? How did you get through the passing of your husband, your daughter graduating? You said you have granddaughters now. How have you lived in the past years?
It's been 5 years when my husband passed. We had a daughter together, which was 2 when he passed, and now she's 7. And I remember thinking to myself, God, I don't want to be a single mom again. I've already done this. Are you
Mm,
kidding me? I did everything right this time. I got married and then I had the child and I did everything right. And now, why me? Why am I being forced at this point to be a single mom? And I remember thinking about her and how I was going to do this, and how I was going to put on this brave face and
mhm,
how I was breaking inside. And I remember reaching out to different people when it first happened and really just being too vulnerable. That word comes to mind every time I think about when it first happened. I was just vulnerable. Everybody was in my ear. My head was cloudy. I could not think on my own. There is a such thing as widow brain. Um, I was listening to advice that I knew not to take. I was doing things that I knew that was not in my character to do.
right,
And I started to second guess myself about everything that I did like, everything that I did like that I didn't like anymore. I mean, it just turned to, who are you anymore? Where are you? And
right.
so I started reaching out to one of my friends inboxed me and told me about a grief group. And
Mhm,
what bothered me so was that the grief group was held at a Caucasian church.
mhm,
And it bothered me to walk in because even though they had everybody there, there was no community there for us, for women of color. And
mm,
that bothered me because widows are the most silent grievers when it comes to grief. Because you are expected to just snap back in, snap back
mm,
out.
right,
And with that being said, especially being a woman, it's like, Black women are so used to being single moms. We're so
right.
used to hiding our grief, hiding our hurt. I had nowhere to go.
Mm,
And when I had nowhere to go, I did something that I knew to do. I turned to myself and I said, what can I do? Because I can't find the help I need. I have a church home.
mhm,
They have singles ministry. They have the bus ministry. They have everything but the widow
mhm,
ministry, right? So I didn't fit in with the single ministry because I didn't consider myself to be single.
right.
I didn't fit in with the married group anymore because I was no longer married, but I could still have those conversations, but I related more there. So where was my community? So I
Mm,
started to ask myself, coming from a background of finance and banking, I had no experience in grief therapy. So I
mm,
said, how can I get the help that I can get to help someone else? And I started looking into life coaching. And
mm.
so that's when I found my niche to become a life coach
Okay.
for widows and widowed moms. There is no community for us. And it was sad that the community was out of a white church for our hurt, our grief, our therapy. And that's not right.
Well, we have to remember as well, because when you think of it, there is somewhat of a misunderstanding because
Right.
of cultures. So
Correct.
it's different for each group of people. It's different how the Black African American community deal with grief versus African Caribbean people deal with grief versus Caucasian people, and then you can break that down to even more different cultures, different races. Grief is dealt with in different ways. And when we think of it, and sure, as a life coach, you're seeing that most people, you would see different ways of dealing with grief for
Correct.
each person.
Yes.
And it's not something cookie cuttered. It's just because of everybody's different, every culture is different, and you got to learn that background to be able to deal with that individual in that time of need.
Absolutely.
Yes. Wow.
Absolutely.
And you figured it out because you were in it.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
So you took the approach of trying to learn how to deal with grief through being in grief, but then seeing the opportunity to help others. So
Yes.
that's really, really a wonderful concept, because sometimes when people are in grief, they somewhat turn inside and become introverted or, excluded from a lot of things versus going out there to try to help someone else.
Right.
Yeah. So, what are some of the things you're currently doing to help with your life coaching that you've gotten into? Because you mentioned you're in finance and accounting,
Yes. Yes.
right? But then now it's something that you get into that is totally the opposite end of the spectrum when it comes
Yes.
to thinking about it. But what are you doing currently to help with your life coaching career?
Currently, I have started a clothing brand, which is, I have my shirt on now.
Yep.
It is,
Yep. Dope ass widows.
yes,
Right?
Dope Ass Widow. And it is branded and trademarked. I'm very proud of it. Dope Ass Widow came from me just thinking about what, what would I consider myself to be as a widow? Like coming up with different adjectives, like who am I?
Right.
And I said, I'm dope, but
Mhm.
I'm more than dope. I'm dope ass. I
Mhm.
am I am striving, and when I say ass, I don't. I think some people take the word ass and they're like, well, she's cursing. No, I'm saying I'm a dope ass. Like I'm putting, the emphasis on dope because of everything that I've gone through.
Mhm.
And the many times that I could have given up, and
Right.
the many times that I had to pick myself up.
Mhm.
And for that, I'm a dope ass widow. The widows out here, are dope. The community
Yeah.
of widows that I'm waiting on are dope. And
Mhm.
I have different apparel, not just dope ass. I have dope widow, for the people that don't want to wear
Mhm.
the word ass. I get it. I understand.
Mhm.
And I respect that.
Yes.
But that's who I resonate with when I think of being a widow and everything that I've had to go through, especially being a widowed mom. Being a widow and being a widowed mom is something totally different.
Mhm.
Um, because once you stop the grief never ends. But when you have children, it also begins again. So
Right.
it's like it just starts all over again.
It's
So
reoccurring.
it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, when I look at your brand, when I think of the word ass, I put it synonymous with a mule or a donkey. And guess what? Palm Sunday is coming. And what was Jesus riding? He was riding a mule or a
Right.
donkey. And when you think of a donkey, it's strong. It kind of have a hard head, but it's strong, and it will do
Absolutely.
what is necessary to be done. It will do the task that is at hand, that is put in front of him. So
Absolutely.
I that's what came up in my brain when I was thinking about it, and while you were talking, most when you're a woman, one, and a mom, two, you have to be determined to want to move forward, because
Absolutely.
obviously you want your children to see that quality in you and to want to gain such a quality in themselves, to know that even though you go down, even though you throw down, if you fall down, you still have to get back up.
Absolutely. Yes,
So
ma'am.
keep, I say just keep at it, and being that dope mom that everybody needs to see out there, to
Yes.
really realize that it's your character is not a widow. That's just, what's that, an adjective? Well, it's a noun,
A
but
noun.
it's a noun. But
Okay,
when
that
you
was a
think of
noun.
it, it's a noun, but it's not describing you.
Correct.
So, so
Correct.
you're not. I don't see you as a widow, but I see you as that person that is determined to help others who have been hurt as well by a
Thank you.
loss. So
Thank you.
yes, that's what I am seeing, and that's what's resonating with me right now. So
Thank you.
great. So you have your apparel. Do you sell it online, or you sell it in your hometown? What do you do?
I do sell it online. I am working on my website now. Everything will be up and running very soon. Um, I have everything pretty much as far as the clothing brand and everything on the website. But I am also going to start taking my, doing coaching sessions,
Mm,
because my brand is Dope Ass Widow for my clothing brand, but my business for my life coaching is New Stages of Life, which is acronym New Soul. So I
yeah,
love that the acronym of New Stages of Life is meaning that new soul that I'm coming into myself. So that is the coaching part of my business is New Stages of Life, LLC.
yeah, yeah, great,
Yes,
great.
ma'am.
So that will be, and that is your opportunity to build a community with ladies who
Yes,
have experienced the same grief, and learn how to be able to overcome the grief and not let the grief overcome them.
absolutely.
So there was just the other day I was listening to Regina King's story where she talked about losing her son, and one of the quotes that have been buzzing on Facebook and social media was that of grief is a journey. Grief is love that has no place to go. Now, if it is grief is love that has no place to go, you having a community, that's a
Yes,
place to go.
absolutely.
So that this community would allow for opening up and creating that space for that love to grow.
Yes.
So that is a good segue for us to go to, because when I think of it, what are your plans? Are you planning to do just like online classes or in-person classes or retreats? What are some of the ideas that you have or opportunities that you think you can see doing with this new concept?
I'm sorry about that. To answer your question, I am going to be all things, you know, in person. I want to host retreats. I'm working on some things right now with different widows, with widow moms, getting the kids together. And being here in Atlanta, in the area, I'm working on building a community within this area, Atlanta, and building up other widows here. And
Mm-hmm.
then, building and branching off online and different online tutorials and my YouTube channel and different things like that I'm working on. That's what I'm looking forward to, so that I can be on many platforms. And I'm so grateful that you asked me to be on yours. This is my first time actually being on a platform, so thank you. I would
Right.
never forget this opportunity.
No
But
problem.
I'm just so grateful for all things, and I hope that what I have to give
Mhm,
comes from a place of, I want people to know I'm approachable.
mhm,
I'm not someone that's hiding behind grief. I'm not one that's hiding behind, you lose a friend, you lose intimacy when you lose a spouse.
Mhm.
I want to talk about all things widow mom, like not just the surface talk, but
Mhm.
all things.
Yes.
And just be able to have a safe space for them to be able to come to speak on these things.
Hmm. And I
So,
think that it's necessary. It's needed.
yes, it
It is
is.
needed. Um, it really is needed in all communities, and especially when you have the opportunity to meet similar people. As you
Yes,
say, moms as well as widow
yes,
moms, it helps for them to connect because they
absolutely.
are going through the same thing pretty much, you
Yes.
know. So I'm very happy that you've shared this. Um,
Thank you.
tell me one of the challenges you think you may face or currently facing with branching out into this new field of life coaching for moms, widow moms.
I'm going to be honest because I told you I would. The
Yes.
fee schedule, I'm working on trying to structure that so that I'm able to help all widows. I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to, I know you can't help everybody, right? But I don't want to limit my services. So
Hmm.
I'm trying to work on some things, back payment plans and different
Yes.
options and
Yeah.
hosting free classes so that what you can't get, one
Mhm.
on one, I can give to you, maybe in a group session. Who
Yes.
knows? But I want to be able to, because my gift will make room for me, you
Yes.
know
Yes.
and if I give, it shall be given back. And so I'm a true believer of that. And so I haven't made it this far without somebody giving and sowing into me. So
Mm-hmm.
I want to also do that as well. And it'll come back,
Oh
it'll come
yes.
back. Yes.
Yep. Yep. And that is important to know because you have to have that hope or that belief that it will
Mm,
happen and it
yes.
will be that time when everybody who I am trying to reach to will be that individual that connects with me very easily to do the things that I am passionate about. So it really is important to feel that way and learn from all the things that you have inside your head, want to teach everybody. It really
Yes.
does help to
Yes.
feel that you are accomplishing that goal or that you had in mind how many years ago, since 2018 in your case.
Correct. Not 2018, but a little bit after, maybe 20. Give me a
Okay,
little too, yeah, about 2020. Yeah.
that's all right, that's all right.
Yeah.
And it still is something that you still it was born out of what has happened.
Yes.
So and you kept going. I mean,
Correct.
2024, keep going, keep
Thank you.
inspiring other ladies,
Thank
other
you.
widow moms, and I could see you growing even further. So keep at
Thank you. Thank you.
You are most welcome. Thank you so much for sharing your story because there is someone out there that needs to hear this and we inspired and motivated to know that I'm not alone in this situation
Right.
and that I can have help and I can have friends or a community to go to whenever I feel down or whenever I need help. So thank you
Yes.
so much for sharing this with us. We are going to share here on FxWB the link to Latrica, her website. Try
Yes.
to share also her email address,
Yes.
connecting with her. Um, go buy her t-shirts.
Yes.
Get connected, get into that community. If this is a
Yes.
community that resonates with you, support her organization. It's a new organization. Support the different aspects of her organization and help others. That's what we're out here for. And that's how we enhance our well-being, by helping in communities and
Yes.
building communities. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Latrica, for coming
Thank
on board.
you.
Thank you. FxWB is always welcoming to everyone and learning about their passions and how their stories enhance their passions to do that which helps them to enhance their well-being.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. And
Yes.
thank you to your audience. I want to say thank you. And I also want to say, feel free to reach out. Michelle will have my email and all my information there. But please, sharing is caring. If it's not for you, share it with another widow. Share it with a widow mom. And, let's just start to share and care more. Okay?
Yes.
So that means a lot. It does.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
This has been FxWB New Beginnings podcast with Michelle and today Latrica.
Yes.
All right. Blessings, everyone.